Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Friday and this is being posted today, Saturday. I just kind of wanted to, I was watching Doomcock. I think I'm addicted. He's friggin' funny shit. It's weird, but it's funny. I want to talk about legacy. I've talked about it before, but watching Doomcock's video, there's a point I watched his review of Solo, and something really profound happened here. I started to think about legacy again. He brought up the fact that Alden Ehrenreich looks nothing like, sounds nothing like, is nothing like Harrison Ford in the video, and it struck me as something that's really lacking in Disney Star Wars and Star Wars in general right now. You know, these authors that are writing for Star Wars, color your gray, bitch. You know, Chuck Wendig, this Paul Kemp, and the rest of them. You got, you know, the idiots that are writing the scripts, and all the rest of the stuff. This new canon, which really isn't canon at all, because George Lucas had nothing to do with it. And I thought about legacy. I started thinking about legacy. What is a legacy? It is something that people leave behind for their descendants, their children, their grandchildren, their descendants. There are people in this country that have pieces of furniture that their great-great-grandparents had in their houses. You know, antiques. A legacy could be a trust fund. A legacy could be, you know, my daddy's 12-gauge shotgun that he gave me, all right, when he died. Daddy's blaster. A legacy is something profound that can be a tangible object, or money, or a piece of culture. A piece of a generation being handed, gifted, unchanged, to the next generation to learn from, to understand from, to learn lessons from, and to pass on to the next. This is a cultural legacy. George Lucas gave us that. Harrison Ford has given us that. Carrie Fisher, God bless her soul, gave us that. Mark Hamill has given us that. What is going on with Disney, Rian Johnson, and the rest of them is a profound destruction of the legacy we were given, handed, and expected to hand off to our kids, to our grandchildren, to our posterity. These are people working at Disney, Lucasfilm, who don't believe in things like legacy. They believe in social engineering. If you don't, you're an incel neckbeard or something, right, Paul Kemp? But legacy is a very profound thing. You see it all around you in Europe, in the old buildings. You see it in the Middle East, Cairo, Egypt, North Africa, the pyramids, all across the Middle East with the Roman ruins and the Greek ruins. You see it in Greece, in the ruins there from the Golden Age of Greece. You see it everywhere. You see it in the United States, in our monuments, in our cultural heritage centers, in our natural heritage centers. The interesting thing about our country is that it's as much the legacy of the United States, of America itself, has as much to do with the land, especially out west, as it does with the people that settled it, okay? Because that land shaped the people. This is what's profound about our country, is how we are a nation of nations that came together as one, shaped by a shared longing for freedom, longing for our individual road and our individual paths, longing to have something tangible to pass on, longing for an opportunity for us, ourselves, and our families. That's really what the United States is about. So we are a completely different culture than anything else, and it's a brand new culture, and it's still, working itself out. And yet, when you go out west, when you're going across the plains of the mountains, Wyoming, which I adore, Jackson Hole, the Wind Rivers, these are my, that is my Valhalla. That is my, my heaven is there. Montana, all these places really shaped not only the settlers that came from Europe that settled the area, but the Native Americans that found the area first. This is how a legacy is born. These are lasting legacies. A cultural legacy like Star Wars is something that is profound, should be unchanging, because it's timeless. It's our modern myth. And what Kathleen Kennedy has chosen to do, and Carrie Hart, they've chosen to destroy that modern mythos to make it relevant. The thing about a modern myth is that they're not relevant. They're timeless. Myths are timeless. You can still go look at the Greek myths. Sisyphus, Persephone, all the rest of those wonderful stories. Hercules. You can look at the Aeneid, the Roman myths, Virgil, who wrote the Aeneid. You can look at Romulus and Remus. These are still timeless because they're still part of the human condition. They're part of our story. And the story culminates in a modern myth like Star Wars. And yet, these cultural Marxists from the Frankfurt School are trying to destroy it. Now, we figured this out. I'm so profoundly grateful for so many people in my life back in the late 2000, around 2008 or so, that started talking about how the culture is being ransacked by people like Paul Kemp, Chuck Wendig, Pablo Hidalgo, the quiet but scary Carrie Hart, Lin-Wen Brennan, Kathleen Kennedy. It's very, to me, it's very disturbing. Now, I think that it's very, very, very weird how the last 2 years, this stuff has really reared itself in an ugly, ugly, ugly way. Politics is really ugly. It's really ugly when it gets mixed up with cultural touchstones like Star Wars. Star Wars, like all modern myths, are supposed to be a culturally unifying thing. And when it's really funny, this lie about those of us who hated The Last Jedi, who didn't even know Kelly Marie Tran had Instagram, nor did we know or care when she left it, because really, well, how relevant is that? That we are characterized as being something we're not. When you look at all the people that are part of this phenomenon, movement, which is against Disney Star Wars, and it's a war, a cultural war right now, it is such a diverse crowd of people. We have our Trump voters, we have our Bernie Sanders voters, we have our Hillary voters, we have our libertarians who voted for Gary Johnson, which, as a libertarian, I couldn't even vote for him because he creeps me out. Okay, but I'm not talking about that. We have our Catholics. we have our Protestants, we have our Muslims, we have our Jews, we have our atheists, we have our Buddhists, Taoists, Hindus, probably Scientologists, I don't know. Hare Krishnas, for all I know. And then they talk about us being racist. Since when is red, which is the color of human blood, a race? Do we all not bleed the same color? Can I tell you something? Lucasfilm, fucking stop it. There's no such thing as race. I don't see race. So I must be racist, alright? You don't see race, right guys? Right? You must be racist. See, this is just a divisive thing to do to tear down a cultural icon like Star Wars, to rebuild it as something it's not supposed to be. And it is our job as warriors, because we are, to stop them from doing it. Alright? I said in my rant yesterday that maybe these people should start their own company and do their own thing. I still think that. I think they should do it. I think that they're probably right now paying for their stupidity, and they're paying for their lack of foresight and attacking the fans. You don't, like I said, you don't shit where you eat. But these cultural Marxists didn't think there'd be a pushback. Just like, they thought Hillary would win the election. I mean, 2 weeks before the election, and this was after she used the words irredeemable deplorables to describe half the country, I pretty much said, she lost. She's lost. And then, like a day or two before the election, when they basically said the Clintons decided not to have their big, fireworks celebration in New York, I knew it was over. These are signs, all right? These are signs you can see out there in the public, stuff that's going on in the background. They're not going to say it, but that was when I knew she lost. Just like I knew when John Campea and Ethan Van Sciver was dead on right. When John Campea started attacking Kathleen Kennedy, I knew she is now done at Lucasfilm. How she'll leave, I don't know, but it's probably going to be in September. I still say John Lasseter's going to be the one to take the job. So we'll see. I don't know. However, these people must not be allowed to win. Okay? Now you've got, Brie Larson screaming about 40-year-old white men. Our Captain Marvel. I hope she crashes and burns. Saying what she said is not going to get people to come to the movies. Are they not aware of that? Anyway, these people have to be stopped because they're destroying the culture, right? They're destroying something that is unifying. They're hurting the social dialogue worse. Okay? And it's our job to stop them. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, what have you. If what they're doing with Lucasfilm pisses you off, if what Brie Larson said about 40-year-old white men pisses you off, and you are black, white, red, yellow, purple with chartreuse spots, you are an ally, you are a friend, you are part of this movement. Alright? And we need everybody. Alright? Because it's ugly. It's really brutal. It's not something humanity needs. Okay? And it really, this really shows to me that our culture is in a really, really bad place right now. And it frightens me for the kids. I don't like it when little boys aren't allowed to have heroes. I don't like it when, young women like Brie Larson feels the need to attack the audience out of simple virtue signaling. I don't like it. She needs to stop it. Okay? So, anyway, I just wanted to kind of put some feelings out there about legacy, because what they're doing, these people at Lucasfilm are doing to our cultural legacy with Star Wars is a crime. It's a crime. They might as well be burning books. Okay? They might as well be making, you know, propaganda movies like Triumph of the Will, or those old Soviet propaganda movies that I saw when I was taking classes in school. I mean, that's what they should be doing, because that's what this is. That wasn't cultural experimentation. That wasn't legacy. That was using images on film to indoctrinate a society, which is what film can do. And we saw it in Nazi Germany in the 30s. We saw it in the Soviet Union. We saw it during the Cultural Revolution in China. We don't want that. Free expression in the culture is very, very, very important. That is the ultimate legacy of Star Wars. George Lucas is not well liked in Hollywood for the simple reason that he wanted to be independent and wouldn't follow their rules. And them killing free speech, killing movies they don't like, attacking actors and actresses that don't follow the rules, who don't virtue signal, who, you know, don't necessarily, you know, follow the same path they do, is ridiculous. Okay? And it harms not only our culture, but it harms the film industry and making movies, the art of it. Because an artist has to be free to do what he wants to do. George Lucas is an artist. Okay? When you have Steven Spielberg having to shop the movie Lincoln around just to get funding for it, that says something very, very scary about the film industry right now. It says something very scary about the legacy of Star Wars, of George Lucas, of Steven Spielberg. That these cultural Marxists, and I don't think either of them are, feel free to just stomp on whatever they want, to change it, to make it meaningless, nihilistic, pablum for mushy-brained people. Because the people that are pushing back aren't mushy-brained. All right, we're not idiots. We're not sheep. So I want y'all to think about legacy. Think, what does it mean to you? Leave me a comment in the comment section. I really enjoy that. It goes along with, you can't kill the past. You know, humanity created time. There's no such thing as time and eternity. That's ultimately what the Force is. Okay? That's ultimately what God, and a lot of us are here, believe in God, believe in some sort of faith, understand it, that there's eternity out there. All right? The past touches you. Look at quantum physics. Look at time and the fact that it could be folded. All right? I mean, there's all these weird notions out there that suddenly start to make sense when you start thinking about them. Think about how legacy and time and history and the things that are passed on through generations really mean to you as an individual, and to a culture, okay, to the world culture. And then add Star Wars to that, and understand we have a war on our hands. This is Steph, signing out. Have a great Saturday. See you around the galaxy.